The classroom was unusually noisy that morning. Chairs scraped across the floor, laughter echoed off the walls, and paper airplanes sailed through the air. The students were in high spirits, because today was the first day with their new English teacher. But beneath that excitement was something less innocent. Whispers, snickers, and plans to test just how much they could get away with. When the door opened, silence fell for a brief moment. In walked Miss Carter, a woman in her late 20s with calm, steady eyes and a gentle smile. She didn't dress in flashy clothes or wear much makeup, just a plain navy dress and a cardigan. To the students, she looked timid, maybe even weak. A few exchanged glances, already deciding she would be easy to push around. "Good morning," she said warmly. "I'm Miss Carter, and I'm excited to learn with you this year." There was no warm greeting in return, only muffled laughter from the back of the class. Excited to learn. More like excited to bore us. One boy whispered loudly enough for everyone to hear. The class erupted in chuckles. Miss Carter ignored it, continuing her lesson about poetry. But as she spoke, the interruptions grew. A crumpled piece of paper flew past her shoulder. Someone started imitating her voice in a mocking tone. A girl in the second row yawned dramatically and laid her head on the desk. By the third day, things escalated. A group of boys in the back corner began passing notes with rude drawings. Someone hit her chalk. A few even walked in late on purpose, smirking as they took their seats. It wasn't just mischief, it was mockery. That night, Miss Carter sat alone at her small kitchen table, staring at the lesson plans she had carefully prepared. She had worked so hard to earn her teaching degree, to finally stand in a classroom of her own. But now, after only a few days, she was questioning if she was cut out for it. The words of the students replayed in her mind. Boring. Weak. Doesn't know what she's doing. She could quit. Walk away before they humiliated her again. But then she remembered her own school days. She had been the quiet kid, the one who sat in the back, trying to avoid the bullies' attention. One teacher had seen her potential and encouraged her when no one else did. That teacher's belief had changed her life. And now, it was her turn to be that person for someone else. Even if her students didn't see it yet. The next morning, she walked into the classroom with the same calm smile. But this time, she had a plan. Instead of starting with grammar or vocabulary, she wheeled in a cart covered with a large sheet. She didn't explain what it was. She simply asked the students to write down, anonymously, the meanest thing anyone had ever said to them. At first, they resisted, but curiosity got the better of them. Slowly, scraps of paper filled the basket. Ms. Carter read them aloud. "You're worthless. You'll never be good enough. Why are you even here?" Some students looked down at their desks, uncomfortable. Others shifted in their seats, realizing how harsh those words sounded when spoken aloud. She then pulled the sheet off the cart, revealing a pile of bricks and a small sledgehammer. "Each of these bricks," she said, "represents hurtful words and actions. They build walls between people. But we can choose to break them down, one by one." She let students smash a brick, while saying something encouraging to the class. "You're smarter than you think. I believe in you. You matter." Laughter and cheers replaced the earlier mocking tone. The room, for the first time, felt alive with something positive. Over the next weeks, the change was remarkable. The boys in the back started arriving on time. The girl who had once put her head down in boredom began participating. Students who had barely spoken before were reading poems aloud with pride. Miss Carter didn't just teach them English. She taught them empathy, respect, and the power of their words. Months later, as the school year ended, one of the boys who had been her harshest critic stayed behind after class. He handed her a folded note. Inside, in shaky handwriting, it read, "I'm sorry for how I treated you. You taught me more than English. You taught me how to be a better person." And Miss Carter smiled as she tucked the note into her bag. She knew she would keep it forever. The class had learned their lesson, but so had she. Strength wasn't about raising your voice or demanding respect. Sometimes it was about standing steady, even when the storm is raging, and proving through your actions that kindness can be more powerful than cruelty. And for those students, the lesson they learned in that classroom would stay with them far longer than any grammar rule.